Hey, welcome to the Vergecast for the week of August. You troll my intros now. Is that your thing?
Yeah, that's my.
All of a
Every
sudden, you
single one
know,
of them.
you go off the internet and all of a sudden you can do whatever you want. You can just be a huge dick to all of your friends. That's no problem. Hey, welcome to the Vergecast. It's August 13th, for the week of August 13th, 2012. I'm nice guy Josh Topolsky.
I'm meany head Paul Miller.
Ooh.
Meany head.
I'm average man Nilay Patel.
Just regular.
Yeah.
Just regular Nilay.
Adequate man Nilay Patel.
Unleaded Nilay. Oh,
Unleaded.
what is going on?
Can I say
89
some-
octane
Can I say something
Patel.
that might be a little insensitive?
Oh, God.
Is it racist?
A little bit.
Okay. Go.
Dude, I read YouTube comments on one of my reviews today. You can't racist me right now.
Brown vanilla Patel.
Ooh.
That doesn't make any sense.
It makes a lot
Oh,
of sense.
brown vanilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because his skin tone is brownish.
Right.
But his personality is vanilla.
Totally vanilla.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. So
I'm
what would
not cool
our
with
what
that.
would R be? What would our RB? What would, can we go to Arby's? What would our things be?
So they had to be racist, but also
No, like
a,
vanilla. If you're mean,
you were both
if
a
you're
spice
mean, what do you mean face?
And
Yeah,
racist.
meany head.
Meaty head. So you'd be
Not-
like vanilla with
No, I'm not. No vanilla.
vanilla with.
Why?
Oh right.
What's
Let's talk.
Why?
Hey, and welcome to the
This is going
Vergecast.
really good.
Hey, and welcome to the Vergecast of the week of August 13th, 2012. I'm Josh Topolsky.
I'm Paul Miller.
I'm Nilay Patel.
And we are back to bring you the week in technology culture, art, science, culture, and culture.
Yeah.
Our four favorite types of culture.
Yes.
and what a week it's been, folks. What
In
a week.
all categories. Across the board.
I would say, what's going on with this shot? I'm like off center and my head is cut off. I'm not going to say you guys back in the back room are doing a bad job. By the way, I see that you've removed your camera. Interestingly, on the week of the terrible shot on me, the camera facing those guys is gone.
I'm doing this right now.
Paul's a cameraman now, officially. I just saw this on the monitor, and it's like, what? I feel so bad for the audio listener here because they can't see what I would describe as visual diarrhea
if we-
of that shot.
If we ever have visual problems, we should insert like
narrate them.
effects. No, we should insert like distortion and stuff to the voice so they can experience the
If I sit
vocal
all the way
equivalent.
up, this is like too far away. You know that, right? Have you ever used a microphone before? Anybody here? Anyhow, this is the Vergecast. I think you can tell by listening to it. Also because you decided to listen to it. And you didn't get here by accident. No one's fooled by that act. So just stop it. No one's believing it. You got here on purpose. Everybody knows what you came for.
What, are you smoking crack? Sorry. I'm just making
I'm
a lot
not,
of crack.
Your Honor, I'm not smoking crack.
All right, should we talk about
Everybody
news?
knows what you're doing here. You came to the Vergecast on purpose. You didn't accidentally hit play. So don't be surprised when you hear what I'm saying right now. That's that thing right there.
Yeah.
Creighton just left. I think he may have act. Now this shot looks weird. Go back to the shot of me. Sorry. This is not right. This is not right at all. I look like a Muppet.
I don't think that you can fix that with the camera angle.
Well, that is true. I do naturally look like a Muppet. That's a bit of a problem. What's up with that shot? Go back to that shot. What is this? Do you know what centered means? What's this thing over here? I mean, over here. What is that? What is this? What is that? It's like a fake. It's like a virtual black bar. It's a letter bar.
Gray just picked up the whole camera.
It's so bad.
God, we have to cut all this.
can we do-
audio
I love
bullshit.
that.
Can we do Josh's shot handheld the whole time?
Can we do like a kind of Law
like,
and
like
Order?
Born Identity, like
Like a
shaky
Law and
cam?
Order. Can you do a handheld? Can we see
Yeah.
what that looks like?
Oh God, this is the worst idea.
You got to
we've
like
ever had.
rack focus on some things. Can you do that?
Yeah, and you have to know too much detail about somebody who's dead, like for the true Law and Order effect.
Oh.
Like she was in here last night wearing a yellow
You
shirt.
know, I didn't really know her that well.
Yeah.
I mean, she'd come in here with that boyfriend of hers. Boy, was he annoying. They used to fight a lot. I was just trying to help them out when they came down here looking for their keys, but of course we couldn't find them. I mean, I run a laundromat. I'm not a genius. I don't know, man. I don't want to diss people who run laundromats. You're supposed to ask me questions about the crime.
No, they never asked
How
questions.
tall was he?
Look, I was checking her out. I wasn't exactly looking at his height, if you know what I mean.
We're shooting Law and Order in the bar like 2 doors down from me right now.
You're breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Let's
That was
end
great.
this
Great
terrible
job.
idea.
Great job, Creighton. Good, nice. That actually, I feel like we should do a live episode of the Vergecast with all handheld cameras.
I will say that people making gifs out of that moment now in the chat.
You don't know that.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Anyhow, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's lead in with what we've just referenced. Let's just get right into it.
You want to talk about the trial?
Yeah, Judge Lucy Coe today during the Apple Samsung trial suggested in court that the Apple attorney might be smoking crack. quote.
No way.
Well, she said unless you're smoking. So,
Well, she said she suggested it was a possibility.
yeah.
She
want me to tell you what
can,
happened?
can I hear it verbatim?
Yeah, she said unless you're smoking crack, there's no way you're going to get to all those witnesses.
That's great.
To which attorney William Lee said, "Your Honor, I'm not smoking crack."
Really?
Yes, that
Yeah.
happened today.
And
First, Your Honor, I'm not smoking crack. I can promise you that.
that's good.
Yeah.
Basically, he was
So
like,
let me-
"How did you know?"
So Samsung blew through its case really fast.
Yeah,
this week.
Can you explain this to us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the past 2 weeks have been, not this week, but the 2 weeks previous, have mostly been Apple presenting its case. Samsung copied us. Then they're done. Apple says, we rest our case. And it's Samsung's turn.
Yep.
So Samsung has to argue that Apple's patents are invalid and that Apple's infringing some Samsung patents.
Yep.
They did that very quickly, actually, as it turned out.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know.
Now
it's about...
cross-examining.
They did that. All that's done. Samsung rested its case.
So what are they
today.
doing now?
They're
Well,
done.
hold on,
Both
he's
sides. I'm
explaining
telling you,
that.
both sides. So
Just
Apple
give
went
him-
first. They said
Give
here.
this man a chance to explain himself.
I don't see how they can have more witnesses if they're all done.
Hold on.
No, that's
so
the-
Apple goes first. They say, "Here's our case."
Right.
Right. During that time, here's our witnesses. Here's our evidence.
Right.
Samsung gets to cross-examine those witnesses.
Right.
Then Apple's done.
Right.
Then Samsung gets to bring out its own witnesses and its own evidence and say, "Here's our witnesses." And Apple
Right.
gets to cross-examine then.
That's done.
Then Apple can call some rebuttal witnesses one last time to rebut Samsung's case because and then Samsung can do that again.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
So
a thing.
one so but
I didn't
once,
know there were rebuttal.
one
witnesses.
Samsung rebuts,
Yep.
no more rebuttals.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But Apple could be like, "We got one more rebut for this."
Yeah. It depends.
So that could go on for quite some time.
It could
Well, it
go
depends
on.
on how much crack you're
Well, so
smoking.
it could go exactly. It actually that's about right. It could go on forever, except that Judge Coe is not interested in this trial going very long.
More like KO.
Kinda. Hey.
You like that? I don't know if you're pointing because you didn't like it or you
No,
like
it's good. I like it.
Okay.
Anyway, she gave both sides a hard limit of 25 hours
Yeah. That's not
to
that's
spend talking to the jury.
that's like in court because they only spend about 4 hours a day in court, right?
Well, they spend tons of time in court, but in front of the jury, they only get 25 hours.
They have 25 hours in front of the jury,
Yep.
which means like another week probably.
No, they're done.
Of rebuttal
As of-
witnesses?
Oh, you mean that was the 25 hours?
It's happened.
Okay, so then today.
So then today, they're both kind of running out of time. I don't know what the actual clock is at.
No, can I ask you a question? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. You know, though that is my specialty, isn't it, everybody? What? Oh, I guess you're going to say this. Just go ahead. Just keep talking.
So a few days ago, they were both at 14 hours, so they only had 10 hours left.
Right.
That was a few days ago. I imagine they're both completely out of time now, or very close to it. So Samsung said, our case, we're done. We rest our case. Apple said, here's a list of 22 additional witnesses we'd like to call.
those
Wow.
are for rebuttals.
The rebuttal witnesses.
Okay, so they're not
22
like,
witnesses.
So there's not some strategy here where like Samsung like got through their stuff and made a strong case, and they're like, we're done, and Apple just wants to like put some distance between like Samsung's closing stuff.
No, that's
and-
kind of what they want to do.
that is what they
But
want to
like,
do.
Yeah.
So like,
Because like basically Samsung ended on for them probably like the highest note of the.
I mean, ideally, that's what you want to
if
do. right?
they were playing this like straightforward, legit, they would have brought those witnesses.
no,
right at the start.
this is the procedure. But
No.
Is
Well,
it
no.
typical to have a billion witnesses later
Well, what
on
he's
during
saying
the rebuttals?
Well, he's saying that it's typical to have some rebuttals,
yes, no, it's absolutely typical for them to do some rebuttals.
and they did rebuttals,
yeah.
and then Samsung did rebuttals,
No, they both presented their primary cases.
right? And then
So
Samsung.
Apple's turn, Samsung's turn, Apple's turn to rebut.
Oh,
than
right. That's where
Samsung's.
we're at.
So we're at that point.
We're at the
the
Apple
first rebut.
First rebuttal.
Rebut one.
And Apple
round
presented a 75-page briefing and a list of 22 witnesses, and the judge freaked out and said, "This is completely unreasonable. You're wasting my time."
Oh, and so she said, you both have. Tell you what, I'm going to give you guys 25 hours,
Yep, and they've used most of that time.
and you can do whatever you want with it.
You can use it
You can
however
bring
you want.
whatever witness you want.
Yep.
Within the 25-hour time.
And so a few
So
days
is
ago,
the trial? Oh, right.
So they're both pretty close to being out of that time. So the idea that you would have time to get through an additional 22 witnesses.
That's crazy.
And also,
That's like months of
every time
witnesses.
Apple does anything, Samsung argues about it.
Right.
And anytime Samsung does anything, Apple argues about it. So the judge is basically saying, you're not going to get to 22 witnesses. I'm not going to sit here arguing
doesn't-
about
Does
whether or
anybody
not
have an
those
Apple
audio
already
recording?
win? Doesn't Apple just win already?
Well, I have to say,
I don't know. Samsung did a pretty good job this week of, particularly today, demonstrating that some of Apple's patents are invalid. So,
which by the way is kind of crazy, right?
what do you mean?
That's like a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Like
Here's what I say. Yesterday,
if they're right and they get off the hook for this,
oh yeah, it's open season. I mean, this is
Apple's
this is
like
the ante.
Apple
So
has to worry about.
It's over.
it's open season on these things.
No,
They're
but-
not going to get off though, are they?
But
Well-
the patent stuff is different than the trade dress stuff, right?
Yeah. So yesterday,
yeah.
this is the ante. So we always talk
I
Apple.
feel like the trade dress stuff is unavoidable.
It's
Right.
I think
thought
that
that's
stuff
what
is
this
pretty-
case
With
was
that- with
about.
that 100
that's what makes this case so like meaty and important.
And that's what
Well,
it's about.
But what's
Yeah, there's
interesting?
that stuff and there's the UI
Yeah,
interaction stuff.
That's
The
part
UI
of the patent.
Yeah.
But the
That's
UI
part
interaction
two.
stuff. So what that says though is, if they find, because they can find for the trade dress stuff, but not for the patent stuff.
Yep.
So if they find for the trade, and to me, by the way, the likely, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like the way it's going to go is there's no way this jury is going to be able to say with unequivocally based on what Samsung presented that they did violate the patents. But I think they can pretty much say unequivocally that they did violate.
Yeah.
They did steal like.
Well, so there's two options. The jury gets basically two questions they can yes or no to, right? They can say for each trade dress claim and each patent claim, this patent is valid, yes or no.
Right.
And then if it's valid, this patent is infringed, yes or no.
Oh, so they actually can say
you
if
get
it's
two
valid.
outs. They can say this patent
So
is
they can say
invalid.
this patent's valid but not infringed, or
Yep.
this patent's not valid.
And so if
Yep.
they're infringing it, but it turns out it's invalid, it doesn't even matter.
So Samsung argued two things every time.
And so
Wow.
the
Crazy,
the
man.
possibility here is that Samsung's in trouble because they did seriously copy the design and the look and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that's like a one-time, you screwed up, now make everything look different, and everybody does make stuff look
and
different
you have
now.
to pay some restitution.
Well, sure,
based
you have
on
to
all that.
pay. That
Which
sucks
is
and
not-
stuff.
well,
but that doesn't
$2.5 billion.
that
not
doesn't
nothing.
change the whole market the way the patent stuff does.
Well, no, but
Yeah,
that's
true.
the really
and
interesting-
we've always known that because Apple didn't sue HTC or Motorola for that trade dress stuff at all.
right. So what's really interesting here is that the message would be, and we don't know yet because they haven't even the trial's not even over.
Well-
but
Go ahead, and then I'll say the other thing.
okay. Well, I was just gonna say that the vibe I'm getting here is that if it's the trade dress stuff and not the patent stuff,
Yeah.
I think people already have gone in the direction of we're not trying to copy. I think the days of trying to fool somebody into thinking it's an iPhone have come
Yeah.
and gone.
I hope so. Yeah.
I don't think that people go into stores anymore
I
not
hardly
knowing.
fool people that things are iPhones.
I think that
ever.
visibility. I think the visibility of Android has gotten pretty high in the sense that people know it's not the iPhone.
Right. Especially now.
But the patent stuff.
The
that
patent
means
stuff
like
is a
make
huge
it,
deal.
That's like make it look different, but go ahead and use that bounce patent.
Yeah.
Or go ahead and use the bounce effect.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a bigger deal.
Make it work different.
Yeah.
And that is really important. So
Well, and what are the
With
patents? What are the patents?
Well, and
there's
how did they
tap to zoom.
How
The
did they
big-
argue
the big UI ones
strongly for
are
this?
the big UI ones are tap to zoom and the bounce back, the scrolling.
And
That's
how did they have
Those are the
compelling
ones that, like,
arguments?
they're-
Not like the
most.
one where you select the phone number and it dials a phone.
No, that's HTC. That's the HTC case.
No, I know, but I'm just.
It's not in this
Are
one.
they not in that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Even though those are in the Samsung documents.
So this is what happened yesterday in the case, which was a big deal. So yesterday, the judge said to both lawyers, look, if your goal was to show everyone in the world that you have an enormous amount of intellectual property and put them on notice that they shouldn't violate it, you've accomplished your goal. I want your CEOs to meet one more time and try to settle.
Really?
Yep. She said, "You please do it." And both sides agreed. So Tim Cook and the CEO of Samsung are going to meet.
But that'll be fun. I'd like to be a fly on the wall.
I mean, it's we do special edition Vergecast. So Brian and Matt and I spent an hour yesterday talking about the trial in very nitty gritty detail. And you can listen to that. But basically, the point is, these sides both have so much to lose, right? So if Samsung loses, they lose tons of money, they lose tons of credibility, and they lose the ability to make these products as good as they can be, because some of these patents. The bounce back patent is like whatever, you can do a different scrolling behavior,
Right.
but tap to zoom is like a big deal.
And I don't understand tap to zoom.
That's
Is that
where you like double tap. Yeah,
And it zooms in on like that.
That's
block
like-
of
And does that
text.
mean that
that's like core functionality.
does that mean that everybody
that just Samsung? So Samsung has been they're on notice now,
and again
And they have to take it out of all their products.
Hold on, again, is it the implementation or the very fact that that like when you tap twice on the screen it zooms into the thing, no matter how you get at it?
it's technically it's the method that you do it.
Which is the
But
code.
but the patent is written so broadly that the method is detect a contact and zoom in on appropriate. Like this is what's happening in the trial right now.
There
Like
is
literally, what's happening in the trial right now is that both sides are calling experts who are like patent professors
So-
or engineering professors.
So wait,
they're putting them on the witness
I
stand.
want to be clear, like
and
you
they're
could,
giving them the
but
device.
you could double click on something to zoom into it on a computer.
But
so-
it is a pretty specific idea because
No.
because
So let me just tell you what's happening.
So
in the case.
I'm just
So they make a big chart of the patent, what's written down in the patent,
yeah.
and they put the professor of engineering or the professor of patent law on the stand, and they say, Professor, here are the claims of the patent. Here's a Samsung device. Use the device and tell us what claims of the patent are showing up. And they literally light up the claim charts of the patent. And they say, this is happening. That's this part of the claim. Now I did this. That's this part of the claim.
it's like a Wheel of Fortune.
And like the jury goes to sleep. Like this happened in the Goracle trial, and it's
Yeah,
happening in this.
yeah.
It's very technical. It's very dry, and that's just for Brian was saying yesterday. The jury's awake when they're talking about design and UI and stuff. When Samsung's talking about how the 3G radios connect to the network, and they're bringing up source code, like the jury's like passed out.
yeah, I mean, anybody would be.
Just
Yeah.
to be clear, the
Yeah.
But
concept
this happened yesterday.
the
I'm sure it
concept
did.
with the tap to zoom is this idea. I think it was pretty ingenious. Is that you double tap on a block of text or a photo and it
Right.
goes to that.
I mean, that's
nobody
like-
had done that before the iPhone. I think it's.
I think that's all
pretty
good.
good
So
idea.
they
But
showed-
hold on,
so
but wait,
today-
hold on.
so
Nobody
again-
had done it with a finger.
No,
on a screen.
not
So-
even with a cursor. Nobody double clicked on one thing and it
And did the
zoomed
zoom.
into
So
the specific thing and
today-
identifying
You're
these
saying they didn't
objects.
do that
I'm
on
here,
Google
I'm-
Maps prior to
I'm
the
here.
iPhone launch?
I know what happened in the
Wait a second. They didn't do that on Google Maps prior to the iPhone launch?
Well,
No,
you
if
could
you
click
double
and it would
click
do
on-
it.
if you double
so
click on
today
Google Maps,
in the trial,
zooms
Samsung
into the
brought
spot
out
where
all
you're-
week. Samsung has been bringing out old devices, the Mitsubishi Diamond Touch Table, something else whose name I
They
can never
actually
remember.
brought the devices?
They brought the devices out and they put on their expert, and he said this device came out before Apple's patent, and you went through the claim chart and said, look, it's doing what the patent does. The patent is invalid because of prior art. This is what happens.
And
in
it
the
did the
trial.
exact same
That's
thing.
strong. I
Yeah.
mean,
It did
for
the
that
same
jury,
thing where it
Yeah,
zooms
that-
in that specific
Yeah, no,
block
that's
of text.
this
and
is the
stuff.
whole goal. And like
I've been led astray this whole time.
But you're thinking of something very specific where it identifies a column in a browser or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not what this patent is it?
yeah, no, this patent. It's,
Oh,
it's
This
more
patent
broad than that?
is like an image, and you double tap on it, and it zooms the image.
I
in.
think it's like it's
because going to that specific object that
No,
identifies
that's-
in a browser is
they
pretty
probably
smart.
they probably have a patent for finding the columns going to the.
so again. The
It's a
question.
different- it's a different
the
thing.
question for the jury is: was this patent obvious based on all this other
Right.
stuff that happened, and is this a useful demonstration of prior art? They did, that famous multi-touch demo at TED. Jeff Han, remember? It's a TED talk. It was like a huge deal in like 2006.
For the guys that Apple bought.
No, that's the Perceptive. Apple bought Fingerworks. This was a
Okay.
company called Perceptive Pixel that built the
Oh,
big
yes,
CNN.
yes.
And it's Jeff Haney's giving a TED talk and talking about multi-touch.
Okay.
They showed the video. They brought it up, right? They said, "Look, these techniques have been in the
Oh yeah,
industry."
no, there were definitely things where this
Yeah.
was happening before. The
So
iPhone.
Samsung has been doing this.
Right.
But
That's-
what I'm saying
To a
is
jury, that seems like really strong evidence.
this, and that's actually what's really funny is last week there was a lot of outrage because people were like, "Your headlines are all favoring Apple," and it's like, dude, it's because Apple is leading the case right
I
now.
know. I
Like,
had an email argument with a guy about it.
and it's like, dude, this week it's like
He was like-
Samsung's in charge.
He was like, "I'm removing your site from my RSS reader because of your clear Apple bias."
and it's like, dude, it's like,
dude,
Apple's
I feel
presenting
like
its
it's gotta
case.
feel
Like
pretty
that's
great
what's
to be
happening
back
right
to
now.
that, though.
I was like, listen, I know how you feel, because I think Android does some really great stuff. You know, I think both Apple and Samsung have produced great products.
Yeah.
And it's depressing to see them get hammered the way Samsung's getting hammered. I was like, they're getting hammered because Apple is a pretty good case.
Right.
Like in this department.
And,
I was like, I'm sorry you're
But
upset
also because
about it.
right now they're the ones making the
Yeah,
case.
I was
Right,
like-
it's
I
like
was like-
Apple's making its
I was
case.
like,
They're
we're not-
literally like,
I mean, to
they're
the-
literally in charge. Of course, it sounds
Yeah.
like Apple's winning.
I was like, listen, you
That's
know,
what their job
was
is
like-
to make it sound like they're winning.
I said to the guy, hold on. I said to him, I was like, Brian is reporting like literally what's happening in the like it's what's happening in the courtroom. There's not
Yeah.
this is not like an opinion piece.
Yeah.
You know, it looks brutal because they were being pretty brutal because that
Yeah,
was
and
their
then, so,
job.
and then now Samsung is doing it this week.
Can I just
Yeah,
put
what
us
do you
on
do?
pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
It's really hot in here.
Yeah, can we get the
Is
air
there
cranked
anything we
up?
could do about that? Because I'm wilting. I'm like
Anyway,
a flower
so
that's wilting.
It's a wilting flower.
I
a
still
beautiful wilting flower.
find
though.
it hard to believe that this case is continuing.
You're supposed to say thank you when somebody compliments
thank you.
He said that's true. Modest Paul Miller, everyone.
You have a hard time believing what?
I have a hard time. I mean, I think I said this yesterday.
Thank you, that's fine.
And if you want to, again, if you want to get real into the legal nitty gritty,
We'll watch the
special edition. It's two lawyers talking to Brian about what's going on in the courtroom. But I kind of believe that neither side's like corporate executives believe that this trial is happening, and at the end of it, it will have severe consequences for either
They
side.
don't believe it will have severe consequences.
Yeah, I think it's still not real. I think to them it's theater, and their lawyers have been kind of treating it like theater, and the judge is pissed about it.
Yeah.
And I-
Co's caught in the middle.
Because all this stuff has been theoretical for so long.
Right, and I'm saying at the end of the day, if Samsung loses, then they have to pay a bunch of money. They have to change all their devices. They're on notice. They can't.
If they lose in totality.
Well, no. I mean, if they lose it all, I mean, like, yeah, if they lose, the
they don't
worst
have
case
to- I
scenario
mean-
is bad.
I mean, yeah.
So that's real bad.
But Apple's not going to. What are they going to do? I mean, they're not going to.
And on top of it, there's another trial in like 3 months.
What is that?
The one against the Galaxy Nexus. Apple versus Samsung, Galaxy Nexus trial.
I feel like if this doesn't go Apple's way.
But I'm saying,
I
like,
wonder
if Samsung loses, that trial
Yeah.
gets way harder, and that trial cuts with the Nexus, which running stock Android.
Yeah.
That cuts way into the heart of Android.
And on the flip side,
that's a huge
the
deal.
worst case.
And then the worst case for Apple is that it's open season on all the stuff that they're desperately trying to protect.
What was the Nexus, the unified search?
Yeah,
That's like the main claim, right?
that was the one that got the
the
injunction
injunction.
granted. Yeah.
The injunction, which was then suspended.
But but what Apple has done is they have all these patents and they're asserting one collection against this stuff, and they're asserting another collection.
They clearly went through their list and they said, we can find these things in all of these devices from all of these. Who are our biggest targets?
Yep.
And who are we going to go after instead of suing who we really want to sue? Google.
Yep. I mean, the next trial is the trial against Google.
What's crazy to me
And,
is
there's
that
a lot of talk, by the way, that
there is
Google-
there is no trial.
There will be another trial.
But they haven't. There's been
It's
no,
on the books.
for them and Google.
No, not for Google. It was when
HTC.
HTC, and then
And then
Google
Samsung,
owned
and then
Motorola, but the judge threw the case out.
Right. That's out.
That's out. So that was going to be the Apple versus Google.
I feel like I mean, I don't know. I have trouble seeing how this is like.
I think they're going to settle. I think the
exciting-
jury
I
is going to
exciting
go
thing is
away.
I have
we're gonna
trouble
learn.
seeing how this. I mean, I understand where Apple's coming from. They want to protect the things that they believe are theirs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it also feels like there's a part of this that there's where it's like we want to hurt competition.
Yeah.
You know, we want to protect our stuff, but there's also like a little bit of.
Well, I think there was that vibe right at the top of this. I remember you were very angry. You thought Apple was just trying to hurt, and I think a lot of readers thought that too. I think,
I still do think that's the.
but some of this evidence. I mean, I think Apple has more visibility into Samsung's internal dealings than we give them
I
credit
was
for.
never rooting for Samsung on the. I believe that they did rip off, and much by the way, I think to the detriment of their Android.
And what's
Yeah.
a fair,
I think they ripped off a bunch of Apple stuff.
what's a
and it
fair
didn't-
penalty for that sort of ripoff?
Well, I think they should pay, whatever, if they feel there's been losses due to it. If they feel like people are walking into a store and walking out with
the jury determines that penalty.
No, I understand that.
So I'm asking Josh, like, how
a money amount?
or no, just like, how would that look like? Like, because you said, what's the difference between Apple just trying to ruin Samsung's life and just hurt them because they're competition?
I think if they can
versus
demonstrate,
Apple getting,
I think if they can demonstrate, and they obviously can in some way, look, Samsung sales during a certain period with certain devices, We know that they were being marketed in stores as,
Right.
hey, it's basically an iPhone or
Well,
whatever.
I think
they can demonstrate some monetary amount that
Right.
would be.
And so you think that should be?
but that's what they're doing.
I think yes.
So
and I think for this,
but I'm asking Josh's opinion of how much punishment is warranted for this sort of thing. Is it 2 times that amount? Like, I mean, if someone comes and like steals a guitar
you
from
should-
me,
no,
I don't
you
just get that dollar sum right back from them. Like, there are other penalties for the fact that they've stolen. It's not just.
I don't know how to calculate that. I have no idea. Could it be calculated or should it?
No, so can I just
sure,
say,
why
can I
not?
point this out? Earlier this week, Apple's expert from their accounting firm was on the stand. They were trying to figure out damages. And he said, well, look, it's not just me in a room doing a bunch of numbers. The whole firm is working on this. It took us months.
Right.
It cost us $1.75 million just to calculate how much Samsung owes Apple.
Right.
Which
What's the number?
Which is
that came up
insane.
with?
It's like $2.5
billion. But it costs just to calculate, just to get to $2.25 billion.
I get that. Well, they'll
Cost
believe
100,
me, that
like-
1.75 is going to be in the.
Well, I'm
in
just
the
saying,
number
it's
too.
just ridiculous.
I mean, Apple ain't paying if they win.
Right.
Let me put you that way.
I
But-
believe. To your point, like Apple wants to hurt for competition.
Yeah.
And Apple can prove that Samsung copied, and they're owed some money because
Right.
there's copying.
But that's the place
But how
where-
do you can't? The mechanism for both of those
No, I
things
know
is
that-
the
well,
same.
I think the place. I think the well.
Because you have to.
I think
you have
there's
to,
a
you have to
I
tell
think there's a
somebody that they
philosophical-
copied.
No, no,
you have
I
to prove
think-
your case.
No,
and
no,
you
I
have
think
to-
there's a philosophical. I think that you have to make a You have to ask yourself:
Yeah.
did Samsung sell phones on the strength of the bounce at the bottom of the? Was it more like the iPhone? A little bit, but it was a lot more like the iPhone. The icons being identical,
Yeah.
and like the keyboard being identical,
Right.
and like the notifications looking identical, and the bubbles in the IM window or whatever.
Right, but that's part of this case.
No, no,
too.
hold on. But
Yeah, it is.
that stuff is separate from the patent, as we just said. They can say that like the bounce was similar and they copied, but they're also saying that they infringed on this
Right.
patent.
Sure, I'm
right?
just talking in the grand scheme of
No,
things.
and I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, you have to say, are you going after the things that you believe were like the where the hurt came from, or the things that are like you can go after because they're there? Like, is it in the industry's best interest to go after HTC or Samsung for the unified search patent,
Right.
as if the unified search were selling their phones,
Right.
Because it's not selling their
Apple,
phones.
But again,
I just
earlier in the case, Apple
and nor
put,
is the bounce at the end of the menu.
They put in this was, to me, this is the most insane part of the case. They put the witness on the stand and said the bounce patent is worth $32 per Samsung phone. Consumers would pay $32 more for a Samsung phone with our bounce feature.
I mean, that's an
without.
impossible.
And it's like that's
an
bonkers.
impossible number to
That's
calculate.
an absurd
That's
number,
not-
but it is hard to argue that like, no, the bounce thing was totally obvious and
No.
and-
Forget about arguing that. The question you have to argue is not whether it was obvious. You have to argue. What I would think should be argued is, was the bounce? If the bounce is worth 32, what's the stealing the icons worth that people actually see?
Right.
Yeah.
The things that they actually. What's stealing the rim of the iPhone 3G?
Right, no, but
like,
it's all. Those, I think copying an iTunes icon is just like copying a bounce.
but I'm saying there's separate pieces. There's the copying of the look.
And I know these are
And there's
put
the
in different parts
infringing
of
on
the.
I'm saying, but what I'm saying is like, can you protect your look and feel, and like which is the majority of this case seems to be about. To me, seems
Yeah.
to be about like the trade dress stuff.
Yep.
Can you protect that, and also,
If Apple's case against HTC goes to trial,
Yeah.
it won't be like this case.
what is the HTC case
That's
on?
just patents, right?
Right.
If Apple's case to Motorola had gotten
and
a
that's-
trial,
that's
what are the
why-
what are the
patents.
what are the
That's why
patents?
that's really
I don't- off the
interesting.
top of my head, I don't
That's
remember.
really interesting to me, just because this is really muddled up in the fact that Apple or Samsung had a side by side chart
Yep.
of iPhone and like I feel like you should be heavily penalized for having a side by side chart and copying your competitor's product
Yeah.
and putting that on the market.
Well,
that's pretty
I mean,
sinister.
that one is like
But
that's a smoking
if you're
gun, really.
HTC and you're just trying to figure out a way to make a good phone, and some of your stuff
Well,
ends
no,
up being
look,
like
they're going to
Apple,
believe me, but they're going to
then
find.
that's
but
a
they're gonna-
very different
but
argument.
you don't think
to
they're
me.
going to uncover the HTC side by side chart where they're like?
So here's the thing, and I think this is really interesting. Is and again, people want more of this. There's so much more of it. But,
Really, really interesting.
well, no, I mean, look, Apple produced all these charts, 100-page documents of like, we should make our product more like the iPhone. And Samsung said, this is just industry standard work. Samsung never produced that same chart from Apple.
Well,
It just didn't happen.
but Apple's chart's probably a lot harder to get.
No. What do you mean? They have to produce it.
They do?
Yes.
But how can they know
It's
if
like,
they,
have you
how do
never
they
seen
know?
My Cousin Vinny?
No, but how do they
Like, it's legally obligated
how do they
to produce
know?
it.
But how do they know what to ask for?
What do you mean?
Like they just say, "Do you have any things like this?"
Their lawyers are professionals. They, you can give.
No,
if
but
you're
I'm
in
saying-
Discovery, I can hand you. If you and I are suing each other, which
Yeah.
is happening very soon. by the
Yeah.
way, I can hand you
For sexual harassment.
I can hand you search terms and say, give me all documents that match these search
So,
terms.
so Samsung went to Apple and said, "We want any competitive analysis of products.
Yep.
We want to see them.
Yep.
Any competitive analysis of mobile products.
Yep. And
And that's where they found the Sony
And a lot
stuff.
of them turned up.
And that's where they found the Sony stuff
Yeah.
and the other business. Well, yeah. Nobody's surprised that Apple didn't copy Samsung.
But I'm saying like that
Or anybody else.
It's just funny because
Well, they did copy some.
Samsung's argument was everybody does this,
Right.
But they never produced the document that showed Apple
Well, but
does it
what-
too.
what really
I think if
hurts-
Samsung had produced that document, they would be walking away from
I'm
this
less.
case.
I think that the and we should move on. Probably you
Yeah.
probably all talked out on this, but I think that it's less compelling. That the patent stuff that they're accusing them of is a lot less compelling to my eyes.
To the layman
to the
sort
trade
of,
dress stuff,
The
which I
trade
think-
dress stuff that's the meat.
So
That's
they-
what makes this one like special and a big
Right.
deal. Speaking of trade dress,
Speaking of trade dress, it's the new.
a product that was modified in appearance specifically to avoid Apple's trade dress.
Really, and I have to say, really,
Man,
looks,
that gray around the border really
This is-
reminds me.
He's
I
holding
actually
the-
don't know why they kept this. I'm holding.
In case
the
you're
Galaxy
wondering,
Note.
he's holding the Galaxy Note 10.1.
Should we just
So
it's on our list? Is this on our list?
Using a stylus with pressure sensitivity on a tablet is one of my dreams.
We had you
one
and I
of
had a
my
dream moment. with this
dreams
thing.
in life, and I did it. I had that moment, and it was
Use
great.
this thing.
And I'm pretty much done, but it was great.
It's so Nilay did a review of this, and he gave it a 5.3,
5.4.
5.5,
5.4.
and
Wow.
it is
Watch.
actually the performance of the device.
Watch. Just watch.
They're
watch
showing
the
it
stutter.
there on the video.
Yeah, but that's
No, actually,
it's
can I
not
do
all
it-
about. It's not
can I
all
do a
about
demo?
swiping back and forth.
Nilay wants to do a
on a
live.
tablet.
It's not just
Can I
about
do a
the
demo?
The
screen.
performance is not
Is
not
there a
good
way
on
to-
this model,
Is it? Yeah.
and the screen looks terrible. Am
So
I crazy?
The screen's awful. I mean, it's fine.
But it can
But
track your
ultimately-
stylus even when you're
ultimately,
hovering, which
this,
is interesting.
Ultimately, this device is. Let's forget it's an Android tablet and not have it compete against Android tablets because it sounds like it does a bad job of that. But as a thing that
It's a great tech demo.
What shall it compete against?
it doesn't have much competition as something with a pressure sensitive
Right.
stylus that you
So,
can carry
can
around.
I just-
I think if
while
you're,
we
if
do
you're
this,
a
can I
serious
quickly-
artist who needs a pressure
So in our
sensitive
video,
stylus
because
tablet,
I took the thing.
this is your only choice.
Yeah.
I took the thing
And
to
I'm
the
a serious
office to shoot
artist.
our video without the charger the
Tilt
other
it
day.
a little bit forward.
So while
There's
we
no
were
video
Smart Stay
assistance.
is not able to detect your eyes. So
There we go.
there was a lot
No,
of
no,
question
tilt
over
it
whether
down.
I had power saving on.
Hold on. There you go.
No,
no, hold on.
I
So
gotta
you gotta-
do some stuff. Hold on. So
happening?
can you? You're not helping.
This is the worst demo.
I don't even know what you're doing.
I don't know what I did either.
So look,
Do you have power
this thing is
saving?
ridiculous. No. So I'm gonna
It's
just do.
confirmed he has no power saving on.
So look, you can see it. It's not on.
Well, how? Okay.
'Cause it's this icon. It's
Whatever.
not lit up.
Whatever.
Right
It doesn't matter.
The recycle button.
there. It's the recycle button. I'm gonna open.
But
this,
what are you trying to say? Oh,
He's
because
trying
the
to demonstrate
performance,
the performance is bad.
even
Yeah.
with
Though
power
nobody,
saving off.
nobody thinks you're lying.
Everyone thinks I'm lying.
Why would you lie about it?
Bloop.
Did you talk about the bloop
Gizmodo-
sound?
Oh God, I talked about the bloop sounds.
Hey, did you show the cool picture I made?
All right.
Gizmodo gave it a 2.5.
So this is multi-screen.
Out of
I'm
how
gonna
many?
open.
Who else rated it? Did anybody else do a
I don't
review?
know if anybody else rated it.
2.5 out of.
There's email.
5, I guess.
All right. I just want to show this. I just
Which would
had
be like a, which would be a by the
power
way,
saving not on.
Paul, for us that would be a 5.
Yeah.
Here I am trying to
I've
scroll
got it.
here.
I got it.
and it's not working. And it's not working.
Look at that. Look at that
It's
scrolling.
not working.
Look at the scrolling.
Like power saving doesn't matter, guys.
Oh, there it goes.
It's just,
Hold on, let me
slow.
try it. Let me try.
not very good at.
Maybe I'm not very good at scrolling.
No, look, it's working here. Oh,
Wait.
What's happening?
I want.
Wait.
Oh, yeah, that sucks. That's really bad.
look.
Hey, not
Shame
try
on
the other window.
you, Samsung. I hope you lose your trial.
Oh God, Paul.
Can't. Seems okay to me,
can you-
Nilay. Looks like you're a liar after all.
Just show the picture I made.
I don't know if
I
still
wish
have
the
it.
thing is I wish it had color.
This is one of the worst moments of our
It
our
is.
podcast.
People
ever.
asked me to do it. I wanted to do it.
Anyhow, so Nilay stands behind his Galaxy Note review,
There you go.
and he
good
feels.
job.
Have fun. Look, I think the pen is a great idea. I'm very.
It's an amazing idea.
I feel like
I'm very high on stylus.
by the way,
tablets.
you should have a matte screen. By the way, if you're going to do a pen stylus, just FYI.
Well, you let Samsung know. I think
will.
they had to change that to make it extra glossy, so they didn't violate any.
Right.
any
Well,
infringement.
look, no, I mean, look, I'm very high on the idea that you should have a super precise stylus on your tablet.
Yeah, look at this.
I think that's
I'm
great.
high on it too.
It is amazing.
I mean, that's great.
That's so
the problem is
cool.
that
Oh my
that
gosh.
app is
This- I mean,
why
this-
you're holding it. Why aren't you just
This video
doing
looks
it?
so
You're just
good.
watching the video.
No, I'm just saying that
I
the
gotta say,
thing that you
kudos
were
to our
just
video
doing,
team.
sketching on it is so exciting to be able to see finally on
When
one of
it's-
these tablets.
right, because I think iPad styluses are all cheap hacks.
they're bogus.
Right? They're like the IR blaster of like stylus technology. Like they're lame. And I think you should have a stylus.
I was
Like,
shocked when it cut back to live there.
yeah.
You should have a stylus.
You should
Anyhow.
have a stylus. But in order to have a stylus, you need to make a good Android tablet.
So
And
the point is, it's not
Samsung's
good.
Android tablet is the Galaxy Tab 2, which is not a good Android tablet. And
I
nobody's
gotta tell
ever
you, I gotta
argued
tell
that
you,
it's a good Android
this
tablet.
Google, they made a Nexus 7.
The Nexus 7 is great. You know what I thought this would be? I thought this would be two Nexus 7s with a pen.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted.
Sounds amazing.
Like that is a great product.
That's
But
not it.
This multi-screen stuff is like, why do I want to use?
I don't know. I'll be honest.
Can I
I'm
tell
gonna-
you? I thought about you, Paul, when I wrote this part of the review. The multi-screen isn't regular apps. It's Samsung's special apps.
Right.
So you can't use Chrome. You have to use their version of the browser,
Right.
which they've renamed Internet. They just renamed, just called it. It's just an
Internet.
icon that says Internet.
Why not just call it browser?
I don't know.
call it web?
It's like one of those like Samsung moments where it's like we made a change
They should
for
call
the
it like
sake of making a change.
internet.com. I want a browser called .com.
It only goes to .com websites.
only goes-
No, it's like
but it
why
goes
would you
to
make
.com
that
just a
change?
little faster.
And like, do you believe like you're the
.com
president?
hyper-threaded.
You know, you're the product manager of
I
the,
hyperthreads the .com.
of the Note, and you're looking at it. You're like, you know what?
Pre-fetchy.
Yeah.
I don't think people buying a $500 tablet that supports a stylus know what a browser is.
Right.
Let's rename that Internet. Like
All right.
it's just
This
one of
is-
those.
I-
I'm just so excited about a
I
stylus.
have no surprise. No, it's not any bit of surprise that this is not the product.
I will say this: Samsung. There's been
want
so
it.
many questions over whether I had a faulty unit or an old software build.
Mm-hmm.
Samsung is sending me another one because David and I requested another one,
We're gonna do side by side comparison.
and we will. If for by some miracle,
don't hold me to that.
Samsung's review,
Nilay
Samsung's like PR people tested a review unit and then gave us a faulty
Right.
one.
It's not like it came out of the ether. It's
Yeah. Then we will update the review.
a real unit.
Yeah.
All right, what else is happening in the news?
What else is going on in this news? You wrote a piece about RIM.
Oh, I
Windows
did.
8
I
came
wrote a
out.
piece about RIM. I met with RIM,
Yeah.
with Torsten Hines, who is ridiculously tall.
Yeah.
I'm 6'4", so he's like 6'7" or something.
Right.
I was surprised when he got in front of me. I was like, this is messed up. I feel like a hobbit, which
Yeah.
is not a normal feeling for me. Anyhow, I sat down with Torsten and a couple of other executives, and they showed me the new BlackBerry phones. I saw the new software. I used it.
How is it?
It's early still. I mean, they said they're moving into beta, but they're gonna. I think the time that they asked for basically from now to Q1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Of 2013 will be they'll do a lot of polishing in that period. I think they have some really interesting ideas. I mean, we've seen a lot of the stuff that they've implemented, where it's like the peaking and the flowing. You know, they showed it at BlackBerry World or one of these events. I can't remember. It's interesting. It'll be really interesting to see if people want to. It requires it's WebOS-ish in the sense that it requires like a set of gesture. It's like
They're not obvious.
you need to know some gestures for
Yeah.
it. And they're not. I wouldn't describe them as obvious in any way.
Well, Windows 8 has that kind of.
Yes, and I would say that there's also a learning curve.
That was a huge thing.
When I first tested Windows 8 on a tablet, on that Samsung tablet, I was like, how do I get things
Yeah.
that I need? Which is not a great feeling.
I
But you
gotta
know, if
say-
somebody gave you an Android phone right now, I'm sure you'd feel the same way.
Yeah. No, I think in theory.
I mean, if you had never used one.
Yeah. No.
Innovation can be
I
scary.
think if someone gave me an Android phone right now,
The
I'd
Joshua
suck at it.
Topolsky story.
No, the other day I
Innovation can be scary.
The Joshua Topolsky story.
Joshua Topolsky story.
That's good. That's good.
Great.
Someone
Go
gave
on.
me an iPhone the other day, and I was trying to get up the
Hey, you're not allowed to use that.
multitasking bar.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do like the gestures that you
It's
use on
been
the
so
iPad.
long. You're like, how do I
Yeah.
open?
Yeah,
Open.
so I remembered later. It's double tap.
Double tap.
But
Do you remember what
I-
double tap used to be? Double tap was something else originally.
that?
What was it?
You know, it brought up the music player controls.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
that's what I had
No.
mindset too.
What?
It did something else. Double tap did something
Is
else
this a quiz?
originally.
Are you asking this?
Like
'cause you don't
iPhone
know?
version 1, double tap did something else, and I can't.
Customize it to pull up camera.
No.
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 Go right.
Do you know what it is?
I
Or
can't think of what it is. That's
So
what I'm saying.
how do you,
Maybe
Somebody's gonna say it. I'm gonna remember.
everyone is saying music player.
That's only when the screen
is
is locked.
music?
No, it was something else. It was definitely something else.
So you after you'd unlock it and
yes,
then you double
it was
tap.
like in use. Double tap with something else. God, I wish I could.
No,
remember.
it wasn't searched. That didn't come to the iPhone until later.
Wait, did it pull up the phone or something? Like your contact list?
Yes, favorites. Double tap would take you to your,
Oh,
your
right.
starred phone numbers, and it was super convenient because one of the hardest things to do on an iPhone is make a phone call.
I gotta say,
And
my dumb phone.
Double
is,
tap used to take you to your starred, whatever you call them. They're not
Right.
starred. They're like favorite contacts.
My
Yeah.
dumb phone is so quick to getting to calling people, calling
Yeah,
back
you
people
just-
who just
just
called me,
dial
or
a
getting
number.
to the address book, or just dial a number.
Well, we should all have dumb
It's
phones.
really great.
Someday when we're all wearing
I gotta
Project
say, like,
Glass.
I feel like there's
You
something.
all have dumb phones
Yeah. Well, you'll have a regular phone just for calls, and then
Yeah.
you'll do Project Glass, everything else.
to be a super creep boy, just always taking
Exactly.
pictures.
Yeah.
I gotta.
Go-
I think
go
there's
on,
something
Paul.
to. I think there's something to a BlackBerry user that it having mysterious, exciting gestures, if they're actually powerful and super useful, like they'll like be into that because
They are.
it's already sort of like a special club that's more productive than other
They-
people.
they
And
are-
I think that appeals to that sort of person.
They are going for. They've said this repeatedly, and they said it again in this meeting. Like they want to focus on these power users who are just like want to move quickly, get in, get out, get on with
just
their lives.
blazing.
But I do think there is this.
No, they
focus
don't
on-
get out. They never get out.
They're always in.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I mean, I use the QWERTY
Uh-huh.
a little bit, and it's got a bigger screen than the Bold. They said today that it's 720 by 720. They said yesterday they announced the specs.
What are the basic? I have no idea what they're actually gonna ship.
They have a touch. They're a touch and a QWERTY
Okay.
to start with.
Like an iPhone
High end
and a Bold.
like an iPhone and a Bold, but the Bold has like a larger screen, no buttons.
Okay.
QWERTY keyboard instead of
No buttons other than
instead of the curve. You know how the Bold like has the curved silver things across
Right,
the
right.
keyboard. These are like straight.
Ooh.
It's nice. It's a nice QWERTY phone.
Right.
If they could pull it off and get the dev support,
They still have a little thumb pad.
there's no thumb pad.
No cursor.
It's all touch.
Well, if they can pull it off and get the dev support, that's
Right.
like
and get
two,
back. I mean,
And
two
get a bill-
gigantic.
look, $1 billion.
I mean, but look, I mean, I'm telling you that they still have, they're still in play.
And so you.
I mean, I
enjoyed
don't
using
believe in them. I don't believe that. I'm not like going like, yeah, they're gonna be back. I don't
Right.
know one way or the other. I'm not saying like I'm
But
a
it's
believer.
not like
But
no
I'm
ch-
saying,
no
but I'm saying
chance
they're
in hell.
they're in play globally.
Okay.
That's real.
Mm-hmm.
They're still in play in the U.S., but dropping like a lead balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's a while before this thing happens. But I think that
lead
like
balloon. Is that?
that's a thing. It's not a thing, but it's a saying. Lead balloon.
is?
You've never heard that before?
No.
It's like a balloon that's made of lead.
Yeah, but if it's a balloon, if it's a balloon
I
that
don't know,
still
look up
has
the
like
origins.
hot air in it,
Someone
it's
in
like
someone in our chat, look up the
a,
origins of
a
lead.
brick
balloon.
of lead would fall faster
If you had
than
the
a
internet,
balloon
if you
of
had the
lead.
internet, you could check out what it means right now, but you can't, dude. You're stuck, not knowing anything.
I have a dictionary on my Mac.
Oh yeah, why don't you go run back to your Mac, wherever it is? I don't know where I'm.
It's my apartment.
I don't know where I'm thumbsing you to.
No, that's pretty good. No, just pull the thumb back. There you go.
Go run back to your Mac.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm being so mean to you. You're a little bit mad. Anyhow, but I think there is like it's a compelling. There are people who do still love their BlackBerry for some reason, and I do think they've tried this a bunch of times. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we were hearing about how BlackBerry 7 super apps
Yeah.
and BlackBerry people and
But
super
they were
users
talking about super apps and then delivering no new features. They have new features. This time they just need to work, but they have new features.
They have. I mean, it's a new opera. It's QNX. Mm-hmm. That's a thing.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
You say they're still in play.
Well, they are in play currently.
Sure. Microsoft is still trying to be in play.
Microsoft is not. I don't think Microsoft has yet to be in play. I mean, they're.
You think
RIM is
RIM
still in
can,
third place?
You think they can show up in a year's time or whatever?
No, I don't know about that. I'm not saying
And
that they
say,
can't.
but you think they have enough of a brand?
I think it's
like a fan base.
I think there is a possibility.
You think Obama is going to trade?
Well,
in?
I actually do think that things like governments,
Yeah.
and a lot of other enterprise that really value security and know and trust it, will remain. I don't think that governments, if our government is using BlackBerries right now, which I firmly believe they are, I don't think they're going to switch to iPhones next
People
year.
still
I think
ask
that-
me about if they should get a BlackBerry. It still has that cachet of something that's more
and
productive.
look, and if you watch the newsroom, everybody's got a BlackBerry on it. If you watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, they all have iPhones, but they also.
I would like to just point out that your two examples of reality are the newsroom.
I'm talking about pop culture.
Yeah.
And Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
That's a very watched show.
Completely fictional.
But they have iPhones
account
they have
of like
iPhones,
3 years ago.
But they have iPhones on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But when they're getting stuff done, they got Blackberries.
Never get anything done.
Oh yeah, they get Chris Jenner's making deals. She's like, what am I selling next?
Yeah.
What child is up on the block next for sale? Kylie's getting a new deal. She's on her BlackBerry.
I gotta
typing
go.
about it.
I can't do it anymore.
Kylie.
We've talked.
Chloe.
We have now officially hit my threshold of Kardashian
You love the
content.
Kardashians.
Kardashian content
You
on the
said
Verge.
with a K.
Yeah.
Speaking of Kardashian content, we reported on a Kardashian curse with a K, but nobody would let me use the
Kardashian
K.
I
I was like,
refused.
you need to make it Kardashian curse.
I refused.
So apparently Kim Kardashian's cursed Eric Schmidt's mansion where she got married. Yeah. So
No way.
She rented Eric Schmidt's mansion.
No, she didn't actually curse it. Like she didn't show up. She's like, that's not
Put
what
on like a
happened at
witch's
all.
hat and had like a bag of
No,
like
Kim Kardashian got
bad
married.
smelling herbs.
Kim Kardashian got married to Chris.
Bad smelling herbs.
I don't know how you curse
Kim-
something,
Can I just finish? Kim
but it
Kardashian.
definitely involves a hat.
Yeah, no.
If I have to say Kim Kardashian one more time,
do it. You will.
Kim
That's the problem.
Kardashian got married to Chris Humphries
Right.
at Eric Schmidt's
I
mansion.
didn't know that.
Yes, they rented
Oh God.
it. And now
Did someone else get married and then get divorced?
now
real quick?
no one wants to rent it.
To get married.
It's been cursed.
Why doesn't Eric Schmidt just live there instead of trying to rent it out all the
Look
time?
at this
There you
picture
go.
of the TC.
See, I
No, you
wanted it
can't.
to be.
I'm sorry.
By the way, I originally had an amazing headline which I cannot share with you. Okay, here's what it was. It was. What was the headline?
Midstream turns to.
Yeah,
it
no,
rhymed.
don't say what it, don't say what it was. Kardashian curse turns Schmidt's dream into something that rhymes with Schmidt's dream, and I'm going to let you guys. I'm going to let you, it was profane. And I'm going to let you think about what it was, but we didn't use it. But were people really mad about that story on the site? I didn't look at comments. on it.
There was
People
a
were
lot
like,
of
"Why
of confusion.
Why is this on the Verge?"
You know who was
That's
mad
the
about
biggest
it?
breaking news
Our
story ever.
staff, who they literally responded.
They're like, "Why are we
They
getting
responded to this idea with lots and lots of gifs
Yeah.
of like incredulousness.
Yeah.
And then I said, TC, you have to do this.
Yeah.
And his immediate response is, fine, but where do I file my resignation?
I thought it was a fun story. I actually did. Look, we don't hit. We go pretty wide, and we're going to go even wider in the near future. I think on where we feel is safe to go.
Not just Kim Kardashian, but all the Kardashians.
Kris Jenner, Kylie Jenner, even the Jenners, Bruce's sons.
Yeah.
But I thought
Whatever the hell they're named.
they're all B's. They are. It's like Brody, Bobby, Billy. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. But I thought this one was like funny. I thought it was a funny story.
It's a great story.
And like I was like,
Yeah.
let's do it. Today when we saw it's like the crack quote. At first, it was like, wait. When Brian heard the
Right,
crack
right.
quote, like,
Yeah.
are we covering
true?
this?
Of course.
But there's a bigger story behind the crack quote. But I think it is stunning that that's where the trial has gone to.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I just don't know why Eric.
Well, how many
needs to
comments are on that
rent
post? I'm
out
curious.
his,
Are people
his
enraged?
house? Doesn't he have money?
That's what he does.
Why does he?
Really?
He's running like
77
Airbnb
comment.
with his mansion.
No, this is not. Schmidt doesn't do Airbnb. Schmidt's like in an elite world of very rich people who need mansions for things.
Right.
To get
he
married
needs a
in.
mansion,
Yeah.
so why does he need to rent his mansion?
No, I don't
out?
think
It's
he lives
one of
there.
his mansions.
He's Eric Schmidt.
Do you understand that he has more than one mansion?
Yeah, but if I had enough money to have a mansion, I don't think I'd necessarily have to also rent it out.
No,
to
you
more
have
money.
very-
one
I-
mansion you live in, then you have
I think
another
you're very-
sweet mansion.
I think you're very
for
confused. Eric Schmidt is on the
fake
move.
celebrities to get married in.
Schmidt is on the move all the time. Okay,
Schmidt's moving.
That mansion, if I'm not mistaken, is in Southern California. Am I
Okay.
mistaken or not?
I don't know.
Schmidt probably has a mansion in Northern California.
Okay.
Schmidt probably has a mansion in upstate New York.
He has the
Here's
top
the thing.
thing.
Here's the thing. I don't want to come back to my mansion in Southern California like, oh man, it smells like somebody else's party.
Smells like Kardashians
But you,
everywhere.
you understand that
No,
people,
somebody like sprayed a lot of perfume in my favorite room.
I think you're missing a very important point. People who
somebody scratched the pool table.
people who have money tend to make more money. He's making money.
Yeah.
He loves money.
He already has so
He's
much
Schmidt.
money.
He needs more.
Damn.
Yeah, somebody made a Verge TMZ logo. We should move on. Speaking of somebody
we
making...
weren't even talking about anything. We were just
All right,
rambling.
there's two more big stories that we definitely need to hit.
Do it.
Windows 8, RTM. We went
Windows 8
hands-on.
is out.
I just said we went hands-on.
No, it's
I'm
not out.
firing
Oh,
myself.
hands on.
You went
Done.
You went hands
Done.
on.
That was a long travel from Kardashians.
Yeah.
Kardashians to hands on.
So David and Tom did a piece on the
Yeah.
final version, and you know this is not out yet.
David,
But
so David is super high on Windows 8. He wrote a "This is my next" on Windows 8.
here is my number one, like WTF.
Yeah.
I don't understand thing about Windows 8.
An RTM WTF.
This is an RTM WTF.
Or Riddim Woodif.
You're about to hear. I got to tell you my RTM
My new-
WTF ASAP.
Can I just point out that my new reggae band is definitely called Riddim Woodif?
Please stop.
Yeah.
Whoa, that was scary. Here's what I don't get. They kept the icons on the desktop, these like cheesy Windows icons. Please show them. Are they going to show them in this video? Why did they keep the icons, these silly...
You can tell how excited David is about.
He's like just typing.
No, David, you wrote it.
They-
This is my
all
next.
his
and
hand
actually,
gestures like-
his "This is my next" has a lot to do with the editorial you
mean,
wrote about the future of the desktop operating system.
Really?
Where he's like, Windows 8 is the first operating system that feels like I can take it and dock peripherals to it and like
Look at
give it
this.
monitors.
That's fascinating.
No, but he's like,
Here we
this
go.
is
Look
different.
at the icons. Why?
No,
did
those are kind of gone.
No, they're not. They're
That's
there.
there.
They just
New.
showed
This
them.
is the new. This is the
No,
new.
this
That's
is-
Arrow. That's
Yeah.
the old.
No, this
No,
is the
those
new.
are
That's
in-
the new.
He just said that's the new.
Oh, that's rough.
How, they,
What did you want them to be? It's
I
on
want
the
them to be
desktop.
I thought they
streamlined.
took everything out of Arrow.
It has to be the visual.
I want
different
them to be
visual language. on the
old. I
desktop.
see. Oh, so wait a second.
Old.
That's Arrow.
Here we go. Here we
That's
go.
the
he's
new.
showing,
This is
he's
new.
showing, but the
Just a sec. Just here we go. We're almost there.
No.
New.
Oh.
I need no.
That's
see,
new.
no. See, that's what I'm talking about.
What's flatter? So
Look
you're
at
talking
them.
about like the
But
folder icon.
I'm talking about the folder icons.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Like, look at they're silly. They don't look like Metro or
That's your
whatever.
biggest problem with Windows 8.
Yes, that's actually like my biggest. Well, that and I think it's going to be very confusing to people. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
I understand what you're saying.
why not make everything look stylish? Like,
Look,
like your new
when
interface.
Steve Jobs was a kid, his dad made him paint both sides of the fence.
That's great, but you know
Isn't
what?
it the underside of the cabinets?
All I'm saying is,
No, well, in the Snow White, she swept under the rug.
is that true? The underside of the cabinets, because I have to say, like,
I heard it was both sides of the fence.
It was the back. The Steve Jobs story that I've always heard is that his dad always made him care about what the back of the cabinet looked like.
well, you should not paint the back of the cabinet, especially if it's against a wall.
I don't think he paint. I think he wanted to
If
make
it's
the
especially
back.
if it's installed.
I think he painted both sides of the fence.
I think this is more of an analogy, a metaphor.
Look,
for caring about the parts. Of the
facts-
thing
I mean, I'm
people
just
want
saying.
to see.
Let's say
Don't
you're putting
matter.
in a kitchen.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
you don't paint the back of the cabinet that you're installing against the wall.
No, that's ridiculous.
Nobody would do that. It's a waste of time. You'll never see it. And also, I think there are some good arguments to be made for not painting the inside more than you absolutely have to, which is like what is visible.
This was the whole.
Well, the whole
the whole
illustration
metaphor was
is
the
that
fact
is that
you
like
care about the things no one will ever see. to make it
yeah,
perfect.
If
Yeah,
you,
but
if you
you know,
really care about the
But that
has
details-
metaphor,
nothing
that
to do with-
metaphor doesn't work in cabinets. I don't. I think that metaphor works for like mechanics. Like
if you
like
care
for-
about the small things, it means you also care about the big things.
No, there's not a one-to-one relationship. There are
You're
people who
complaining
care.
about the icons.
There
And
are
I'm
people,
saying
I am, but I do think there are
I'm
people
saying
who,
it does. I'm trying
I'm
to
just saying, let's not
argue
use
your
broad
point.
generalizations.
I'm trying
make
to
my
argue
point.
your point by
Well,
saying if you don't care enough about the icons,
No,
what
but I
do
don't
you
believe.
really care
But
about?
I don't believe that's.
You're just pissed about the
and
icons.
and actually, what you just said is exactly why I don't want to use some dumb analogy where it's like, if you don't care about the back of the cabinet, you won't care about the front of the cabinet, which is like not actually true. There are, this is just like,
You're just bugged about the icons.
it's just aesthetically it should match the rest of the OS. And
Well,
I
I'm
don't
just bugged about not being able to make an analogy in this scenario.
I just say like that analogy is unfair because I don't believe that's the way people work. I don't think people are like, I'm just the kind of person who doesn't care about painting the inside of the cabinet. That's just who I am. Like it means something about me. Like because like if I was, I'm building an engine for a car, I don't really care about a muffler. I don't think they're important. Or, I'm not going to put a transmission, and that's no big deal. Why does it need it? You don't see it. Bad analogy.
I don't know what you're
These are
talking
all
about
terrible. These
anymore.
like core functionalities.
The point of the analogy is that it's if you don't care about the little things, you won't care about the big things.
That's what
or
I
something.
said.
No, I know, but that analogy is BS because I don't think it's true.
Except for the icons, which are little things.
Because that's
clearly
exactly-
little things.
No, they're
This is
little
what
things.
This is how people always compliment Apple.
but
That
what you-
Apple cares
yes,
about it
but that-
pixel
but
by
that-
pixel.
But that compliment is BS, is what I'm saying.
Do you think it just
I'm saying that.
matters?
Do you
the
think
pixel by
Microsoft?
pixel just matters
I'm
for
saying.
the
Do you
pixel
think
by
that
pixel?
Microsoft doesn't? Do you think that they slacked off on the big things because they have one thing that is they didn't change?
I think it's
that's
a
what it
symptom.
means.
I
That's
think
what
it's
it
a
means.
symptom that happens sometimes.
I don't know. Well, maybe, but I don't know if it is. I just think sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. You can't just
That's a good-
broadly
that's a good way,
generalize.
yeah.
You can just broadly
Sometimes
generalize.
it is. Sometimes it isn't.
Sometimes, like you
it
see,
can be a symptom.
It's like this. Sometimes you see somebody with their shoelaces untied, and it means they're like a sloppy person who doesn't care about tying
Or
their shoes.
maybe they just
Sometimes
didn't
it means
notice.
they just didn't notice, or they're more comfortable that way.
That's right.
Think about it.
That's right.
I hate broad generalizations. Anyhow,
I think we
am,
just cracked that case.
I am pissed about these icons.
Yeah.
Fix them. Fix them. Microsoft, I call on you.
Anyway, so David was saying that it's the first operating system he's used that knows in different contexts what's happening. What are you doing?
No, I just remember that
what is
guy.
it now? What did he
that
say?
guy in our forums that redesigned Windows 8. It was really
that looked good.
No,
Okay, so anyways.
David's saying this is the first operating system I've used where I feel like I can pick it up, go use it as a tablet,
Yeah.
put it down, plug a keyboard, and
This
monitor
is the
into
point.
it.
This is the whole point.
And he's
get in,
he's
get
very
out on with your life. Wait a second.
no, it's different. But she's very high on it. He's like,
But that's their whole
I
point.
put it on the
Just wait till it gets a
put it on a
Surface.
ThinkPad Carbon, the new one, the X1 Carbon, and he said this is not. OEMs still have months of work to do battery optimization, driver optimization.
Right.
So there's
But
still
the divide,
And that's the whole point of the RT.
The divide is that yes, the divide is, but the RT version is not. We keep having this conversation. It's just like yes, he put the RTM on a Lenovo laptop,
Right.
which is an Intel based device.
Right.
The version that will really be, I mean, the Intel
Windows RT on an ARM tablet.
That's like the
that's the
that's like the high battery life. Do everything you do with a tablet. I mean, I know that the other ones will run that same software in their Metro interface, or whatever they call it now, but they're different.
Yeah.
They're different devices and with different software.
Right. What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say like that Windows part. Like where you want it to, like what you want is like I have an iPad and I go out and I'm like tableting and I'm doing all this cool stuff, and then I get home and I dock my tablet and it's my computer.
So say what David's very excited about.
Which is that idea,
Yeah. Right.
Is
Nothing to do
have
with WinRT.
Well, it is, but to have the true experience, WinRT is the platform you want because it's the one that's going to be it's going to sip battery
fully
life.
like an iPad.
It's going to be like. It's going to be the one that you can go all day with and
Right.
bring it back home or whatever. But that's going to be provide a different experience for users than the Intel version, which will have
Right.
access to the full suite of all Windows software and all desktop stuff that you would do without any compromise.
So we're yeah.
Well, but you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
like, would
no,
you
I do.
buy?
I know
would
what
you
you
buy
mean.
an Intel-based tablet right now?
No,
Why not?
because it wouldn't have battery life.
What else? They have fans. They get hot.
yeah. I mean they're not.
They're high power.
They haven't been good products.
Right.
Yeah,
Intel doesn't
I've
have
never
a
seen
chip.
a good
Intel doesn't
Intel
have a chipset
tablet.
that does what the ARM chipsets do.
Right.
So you've got this like they're two different types of hardware. They're two different. So they still are like separated.
Right.
You need them to be one thing.
Right.
And they're not one thing right now. You
I
can
think
have the
they'll get
RT. You can have the RT experience without any of the legacy Windows software, which, by the way, will be fine with me
What's the
for a moment.
what's
and we'll see.
the like experience of having a login on your Windows, laptop, and also having a WinRT tablet?
Nobody knows yet. Nobody's really used WinRT.
Because that would be really interesting.
You're talking about like you log into your account.
Yeah. You log into your account and then you have all the same apps. I'm
Like
sure that doesn't
continuous
work like
client
that.
style.
Continuous client
I don't know
style.
if that's there.
That would be an interesting way
Did
to
you just
do it.
invent a feature?
No, I mean it's pretty obvious.
Oh,
But if
really?
it's not obvious, I want to
You
patent
might
it.
want to talk to him about what's obvious and what isn't when it comes to
So
features.
on the same
Yes.
note,
Final topic.
well, there's
Maybe.
10.1, the Note 10.1.
Penultimate
this is
topic.
this is a topic.
Pen-
this is a
pen
one
input?
B kind of situation.
Penultimate topic.
Microsoft and Nokia have announced a Windows 8 event, Windows Phone 8 on September 5th.
That's right. Well, we highly suspect it's Windows Phone 8 since they have Windows Phone 8 icons on the invite.
Yeah.
Really?
So
What do they look like?
so Vlad
They look
wrote
like little icons.
an interesting
Don't look at that.
piece this week, which I thought was great, which was Microsoft is now pushing ahead with Surface on the tablet front.
Yep.
And in doing so, they're kind of spiting Nokia
Yeah.
because they could have had Nokia do it.
And I talked to people at Nokia recently, and they're hard to pin down when you ask them stuff like this. But
Yeah.
it sounded to me like maybe they'll do a tablet.
I mean, they definitely have to get their phone
But they
business
can
in order.
they can do a tablet.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done one.
They built a netbook. Remember that thing?
Oh,
Well,
yes.
It's
So
odd
well.
that's right. They built a netbook, and it's odd that like they are the leading the charge of Windows Phone,
Yeah.
and saying, they're basically like he has a good quote in there about it's the perfect marriage of hardware and software or something like
Right.
that. He said that about Nokia, and now he's saying it about their own hardware.
Yeah.
And it is
Right.
like kind of like they're throwing Nokia under the bus.
Right.
Well, I think
Like, we got what we wanted from you.
I mean, isn't the whole story?
which was the Lumia 900.
Get out.
We got one phone out, you guys. No, isn't the whole story that the Surface is too hard for one of these rink-a-dink little hardware companies
Like
to pull off?
Nokia.
You need like a high-margin software company to be able to have the be able to really risk as much as you have to risk on a high-end tablet.
Is
you
that
think-
true? Because with the
that's
phone,
the story I read.
just
That
want to
was
point out
what I
that the
was fed.
phone is like the Lumia 900 hardware, apart from the chipset, which
Right.
single core. But again, all that was limited by the software that Microsoft provided.
Mm-hmm.
They built hardware that was
Right.
as good or better than any other piece of hardware.
I
that's ever
mean,
been built.
Nokia knows has the footprint to make any hardware they
Maybe
want.
Microsoft just like wanted to build a tab. I mean, there's other people that are better at drawing pictures than me, but sometimes I still draw pictures. Maybe
And that,
but-
that
yeah,
is the
but-
Surface.
Hold on, but have you entered
And sometimes
into?
I draw pictures on both sides
Have
of
you
the paper.
have you entered into an exclusive agreement with those people to draw your pictures for you?
Yeah. Did you find a struggling artist and
Not
say, "I'm going to
exclusive.
reinvent your
Yeah.
life"?
But
And then while he was drawing,
but they did,
you snuck off
But
and drew
they
your
just
own
do.
picture.
I only
That's
have
right.
I only have that artist do my 8.5
No,
by
this is-
11,
I was gonna say, this is
and
like-
I do all my own murals.
No, this is like you commission an artist to. You're like, I really need art for my house. I want you to do pictures.
But it has to be like a poor, struggling artist.
poor struggling
Yeah,
artist,
yeah.
and you really needed the
From
money.
Finland.
And you're like, I want to do my whole house. Well, let's just say I want to do certain sections of my house with art,
Right.
and I want you to do it. And he gets in there,
And I'll
he produced
I'll
it for
deliver you the subject matter pretty late.
and then he's like, what about what you can do about the living room? And you're like, oh, I did an amazing mural I'm putting in there. I have it all planned.
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible. And he's like, but I really.
But I'm still so hungry.
I'm so hungry. I really could use the work. And
So you're saying the artist
you like
blew
the
all
art.
the money on drugs
I-
that I paid him right away?
No, he's like, you like the art I did for you in the other rooms, and
Right.
and I set aside all this time and it just for you.
Yeah.
I'm just here for you to do art,
Right.
And now
Yeah.
you're doing your own art, and I'm gonna go.
Do you
hungry.
still like me?
Do you like me?
Right.
Why did you even invite me to do the art in the first place?
And the answer
you
is
didn't
because I thought I could do a better job myself.
That's right.
Exactly.
And there you have it.
Eric Schmidt invited me to his mansion. I said no. I came here.
Eric Schmidt
Yeah.
said, "I need art."
Yeah.
And I think you make the perfect guy for my mansion.
Right.
I got a lot of rooms, and I think about adding on some more.
And
Yeah.
then Samsung made the Galaxy Note 10.1.
Yeah.
No, you don't get it.
They burned the mansion to the ground.
God, I wish.
Can we do our last topic?
Yeah, I just really wish Nokia had made a Lumia Android phone.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Last
Can you
one.
imagine?
Broke last night, 9 p.m. Apple pitching cable box to
Wall
cable
Street
box.
Journal.
That broke
10 years ago from
9:30 a.m. when Paul Miller read it on his newspaper.
That broke 10
On his newspaper.
That broke 10 years ago when Gene Buzzer first predicted Apple was getting into the TV business.
So,
But what's interesting about this report is
not a
that
hardware
what's interesting
TV.
about this report is Apple could be in talks or is in talks, according to a person familiar with the briefing of the matter, a brief of the matter.
Didn't Wall Street Journal run a in talk story really recently?
Yes, hold
about
on.
something else?
But there could be trouble because Apple wants a 30% cut of what is the phrase? It's like special transmissions.
Yeah, all the video on
Certain
demand, all that stuff.
transmissions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, Apple wants a 30. Oh, I get it.
Here's what I have to say. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I just think I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it's real sweet right now for these cable guys and the film studios and the TV companies, and I don't see any reason why there's any compelling reason to actually do anything that they don't want to do.
No,
There isn't.
Like I can't
I would be
see-
surprised
it's
if
not
Apple
like-
got 5%.
It's not like they could literally be tomorrow. They could say, if suddenly the Apple TV were cutting into their profit, they could say, you know what, we're not going to put our shows on there anymore. And people couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
What would they do? You can't
they've
get the
done
show
that on iTunes a bunch of
illegally
times.
download en masse. It's different when you're downloading a 700 meg file.
Yeah.
It is different. I actually think that's part of the thing here is that if somebody were to find a way to compress, to not lose all the quality and compress a video file into a 10 meg file, I bet we'd see a big change in the industry very quickly.
You know,
Super
Google
well
has
on
people working
Zoom.
on that right now.
Do they?
I bet they do.
I'm just saying.
What do you mean? You
Dude,
mean
it
the
takes-
experience isn't very good?
No, I'm saying no. What I'm saying is, if you can't get it from iTunes,
Right.
and you can't get it because you cut your cord and you don't have a
Right.
cable box,
Right.
how do you get it?
You get it on Zoom.
On Zoom.
I'm saying you can't get it on a service because they decided they don't want to give it to you.
Right.
What do you do?
What does that have to do with 700 megabytes?
I'm explaining.
Stealing?
You have to go steal it.
Oh.
And you know what's a pain for most people who, and by the way, most
how
people
long
don't
it takes
have
to download
it takes
something when
forever
you're
to
stealing
download,
it.
and by the time
Because
it's
there's
done,
not enough seeders
by
out
the time
there.
not enough
Those
seeders,
lazy bastards.
That's right. And by the time you're done downloading it, you don't even want to watch the thing
Right,
anymore.
right.
And I'll talk about a movie. You want to get an HD movie? Good luck with that one, my friend.
So you're saying
unless
it's
the most
game
popular
over
movie.
if someone figures out a better way to
So I'm
compress.
saying that people aren't stealing the way that they could be stealing from these companies
Mm-hmm.
because it really is kind of not that convenient to steal. It's really a specialist world.
But it's going to get better.
I'm saying that if it does get better, then they have a reason to worry. If it doesn't get better, and if people's bandwidth
fine.
doesn't really increase in any material way, then they can continue doing whatever they want to whomever they want, whenever they want,
Right.
because they build an industry where they produce and distribute.
Well, this,
And they have deep partnerships with the people who are putting the lines in
Right.
and running the lines, and everybody is reaping a ton of
this
money
was
from
Apple's
that.
original argument with iTunes was that with the iTunes store is we need to compete with stealing
Yeah.
and ripping, and they did a really good job.
That's right,
of it.
and they were able to compete with, and stealing was a real threat because why?
because
people could-
Napster was so good.
yes, but because you could put an album is 70 megs,
Yeah.
and one song is like 4.
But we had slower bandwidth.
Yeah, but it's not 1-to-1 like that. I don't think there's a. I think it really is. There is
Well,
there,
hold on. The music industry also had a. The music industry and the TV industry are fundamentally different because you can go into your living room and get all the TV you reasonably want.
That's
The
right.
music industry, you could turn on the radio and it's not there.
It's not the song you want.
right.
Well, but the TV industry was very much the same until recently.
But they.
I mean, DVR is only like
But,
50. I think only 50% of
the
cable owners have
operators-
DVRs.
Yeah, but the cable
Maybe less
operators
than
saw
that.
DVRs and they were like, "Yeah, that's a good idea," and they did it. They did
You
the
mean they
thing
saw
needed-
TiVo and they're like, "That's a great idea."
Yeah, and then
No,
they
no.
slowly murdered TiVo.
I know. I agree. I agree with you, but I'm just saying that
Look, I think ultimately I think you're right. I think
It
they
comes
have
down
they
to
have
the
all the
remote.
power.
that's. Did you hear that? He said I was right.
No, you're right. The cable industry has all of the power, and they're doing a tremendous job consolidating that power. Right? There's a reason Comcast bought NBC.
Yeah.
Because if NBC was an independent entity, they could make a deal with Apple that
Right.
put them in competition with Comcast.
Right.
And they know that that's a bad idea, so they went and they did it. That consolidation is happening all over the place.
Just totally normal legal stuff.
I mean, it's a huge deal.
And they have a bunch of, we saw, there's a story we talk about all the time about the FCC person who left and like went.
Yeah,
they were
Joe
like,
went to work for Comcast.
They go over Comcast. It's like not
so the
surprising.
story is that Apple's in talks, but
but they might have hit a snag.
I think the story. I read a lot of the
this is a
coverage.
great time
No,
to
no,
cover
Ask
it.
yourself this question.
No,
What
no,
is
hold
in
on,
it?
hold on. I
Go
think
ahead.
the story last night was Apple's in talks with cable operators, and everyone was like happy,
Right.
right? Because oh my God, Apple's finally going to make a TV. The world's going to change. I look at that story and I say, Apple lost, right? They wanted to do this disruption. They wanted
Right.
to change delivery.
Someone
they wanted
talked.
to change
And cable
interface.
companies said no, so Apple leaked it to the
And
press.
well, no, I think the only way you can do
That's
it, and
interesting
I've been saying
angle.
this for a long time, is the only way you can do this, the only way you can be the main box in the living room is if you deliver television.
Right.
And the monopoly on television delivery in every region is owned by a cable company.
And then so what's going to happen? What could potentially happen for real is Apple says we'll make the box. So understand this. If they make the box, Comcast and Time Warner sell on-demand content. On-demand content is iTunes content.
Yep.
So does Comcast and Time Warner want to compete with on-demand content with iTunes? So that's your first hurdle, right?
Right.
But let's say for a second, hypothetically speaking, Comcast and Time Warner are like, the experience can be so much better, and we get to hang out with Apple.
Yep.
We're not going to do on-demand anymore. That'll be replaced by
Tim Cook will
that'll be
take
replaced
us on
by
a
iTunes
tour.
offering, or we'll sell our stuff through iTunes. But
Yep.
what happens then? Apple wants a cut of their stuff.
Right.
Well, Comcast and Time Warner don't need to pay Apple a cut of their stuff because they already do what Apple would be helping them do. Then you've got, and then there's the,
And Apple, and also keep in mind, the number one broadband class of broadband providers in the country is cable companies. So Apple can't sidestep Comcast.
Yeah.
I mean, what you have to ask yourself is, what could Apple do? And this is what they're asking.
Right.
What can Apple do for the TV industry and the cable industry that it's not doing already?
Jar Jar Binks app.
No, it's not that.
no, but
and the answer is fundamentally they can provide a better user experience.
So like
I mean,
a better
and the cable
a
company
better cable
doesn't
box.
I mean, it could
give
be-
one shit about a better user interface.
I mean, what
if
they
they
could-
did, they would be
That's
delivering
right.
one.
That's right.
Over and over.
I mean,
again.
what they could do. I'm
Every
going to
once
throw
in a
out.
while, those UIs.
I'm
get
going
a
to throw
little better.
about. I'm going to throw out. I'm going to throw out a what if. I'm going to throw out a.
Okay.
Maybe. Apple could come to them and say, we built the ultimate living room machine. It's music, gaming, your offerings, all delivered in a great interface, social stuff, all this like real-time social stuff that you guys can plug into and monetize. TV networks, you guys can monetize these new social apps.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. And this is the, you don't get a PS4, you don't get an Xbox 720. You buy Apple's do everything unit, backed by the hundreds of thousands of apps in the App Store and more coming, made for this living room experience. And you guys get to control it and own it, essentially. We provide, but I don't see this making any sense for anybody.
that would be-
Because what could they offer at this point?
So
it's like apps and gaming.
Microsoft is getting some of these channels onto the Xbox. So if Apple could somehow make a sweeter deal than Microsoft,
so here's what
with these
the
channels.
Microsoft deal is just an extension of TV everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
it's just like if you can
So
watch it on
TV
your
everywhere
tablet, you can watch
is-
it on your Xbox.
Right, and TV everywhere is from the
So
people I
you're
talk to in the
already
industry,
paying for
you're
it
already
on
paying for
Fios
cable,
right.
or whatever.
and it's super easy for.
Look at HBO Go.
No, but it's really easy for
So
Comcast to
sucks.
say, we already have the stream, we're already piping it over IP to your cable box. We'll just compress it a little bit more, and we'll pipe it over IP to an app.
I mean, look at
Right.
HBO Go. It's a brilliant strategy, right?
It
They're
is.
like, you're going to pay for HBO and cable. You're going to do that, and then we're going to give you the option to watch that stuff on demand, which they already do on cable.
Right.
Yeah.
Time Warner, you can watch on demand.
Yep.
Everything on
Right.
HBO. I think it's like pretty much everything. But like, you can also have an app on your Xbox or on your tablet, but you can't have it. We're not going to offer
Outside
that
of
as a
that.
service, because in what way would it make any kind of
I know.
monetary
So,
sense?
I mean,
for them?
doesn't-
Can I-
that's
I
the
mean, people
problem.
want
There's-
it.
So let me
I
just-
would love to subscribe just to HBO,
Everybody would. No, my friends talk to me about this all the time.
and they'd have to. And here's what would they
But
have
we
to,
all understand why there's
I would
no economical sense for them to do
Well,
it.
it's like if you just are, if things are just great. I mean, what's their worst problem? Is piracy?
If you're Eric Schmidt and you've got a mansion,
HBO's worst
you don't need to rent
problem
it
right
out.
now is that they make however much money.
Where do they have to buy a bigger wallet because they have
No,
more
no.
money to put in it?
HBO's problem, and I guarantee you they're taking steps to mitigate this problem, is right now they have a deal with Comcast where Comcast owns the customer. HBO gets $20 a customer that pays for HBO, and they have no overhead costs. They don't have to do customer support. They don't have to have. They don't really even have to have a website, right? They just sell everything to. So that all this other stuff for them is gravy, right? They're just doing it.
Right.
If they sold it directly to the customer, they would have to build a customer support infrastructure. They would have to own the customer, which is very expensive.
Nightmarish.
So you can't say HBO costs $20 on Comcast and $20 direct because their actual profit.
No, it would have to be
cut
like
in
it would
half.
have to be like $50 direct.
Right.
And by the way,
They're going to get there. I don't doubt. I think they're saying
you
this
think
now. If you're HBO, the writing is on the wall, right?
Is it?
It's, yeah, you can sell a product and make a profit. Yeah,
No, but
someone's going to come along and start selling that product.
yeah, I don't.
Everybody in the industry I talk to constantly
There has
says
to be an
within
inflection.
the year,
I think
there will be an over-the-top cable service, a cable company that runs over IP, where you sign up for cable on your computer, you push the button, and you're watching it.
But how's that different than how is that different than buying it from Comcast?
It's no different at all. It's not different at all.
So why should I care?
But I'm saying if you're HBO, the writing's on the wall that that's gonna start happening to you.
Yeah.
And it's
But
better
that's the same
for you.
thing. But that's the same thing as Comcast. They still get the same amount of money from those
I think
subscribers.
you're right, but I think it's better for you if you're HBO to sell it at 50. You can price your way into a higher bracket if you just sell HBO. I think that's true.
I mean, but see, I actually think
I
here's the
don't-
fear. Let's say you're HBO and you charge 50 to.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I think the whole trick for HBO is that these cable companies are like, dude, there's Hulu, there's Netflix. People would not be getting cable if it weren't for HBO. There's probably a large portion of their customers that get cable and like, I want HBO. It'd be nice to have ESPN and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But,
or I don't care about ESPN.
Right. So they're. I think they pay HBO more money than HBO could get directly from their customers, and that's the whole reason HBO doesn't do anything outside.
Well, also they're also paying HBO in the halo of paying $120 for their cable package. It's like, oh, HBO's another $13.95. Yeah, I guess I'll pay that.
Yeah.
But if HBO became, I mean, what could they reasonably? Let's just say a hypothetical. Let's say.
Would you pay $50 a month for HBO?
No, because here's the thing. There are other channels on my cable that I watch, and if I look at $50,
that's the thing.
If I do, I watch
HBO would get less money per.
Do I watch?
person.
The question is, do I watch $50 worth of channels on my cable? Probably, I think. If my cable was $50, would I pay it? Would I continue to have it? Yes. Is there a point where like the price would go down enough that I would say I'm just going to keep it? But so here's the thing. I mean, yes, the answer is yes to that. But I mean, I'm keeping it anyhow. It doesn't matter. I'm paying it. But let's say it's like 30. If it's $30 a month, so what's going to happen is some people who are like, I really only watch a small segment.
I watch one show.
Will cancel their cable and just get HBO. So that'll hurt HBO in one way. And maybe if every single one of those customers does actually sign up for the streaming service and keeps it, you have to remember, I mean, cable companies now like put people in contracts. You know, I guess you can cancel that service anytime you want.
No, you have to
but
like
I still think
take your equipment back.
yeah,
and-
in that move, they still are going to lose some people. And they're going to lose money for real. Like that money's going to go, but they'll get some money on the other side. But again, they have to build all this infrastructure. I just don't see like HBO is like, we have money to do what we want to do. Here's where I think things might change is if there's an inflection point. If something happens between Comcast and HBO. If Comcast says, look, we want X amount of dollars from you. And HBO is like, well, we ran the numbers and we can go do this on our own and not have to pay you the money.
I bet they have that number, and as soon as
they have to have that number.
They're going to get as much money out of the current situation, and as soon as it changes, they're going to be totally ready to sell these things.
If you're HBO, you have to be.
And every single one of these like set-top boxes, every single Xbox and PS3 is going to be ravenous for that HBO app when it comes, and people will pay $5 an episode or whatever ridiculous amount HBO wants, and they'll still make a ton of money. They're just making more money right now than
you
whatever.
You can pay $5 an episode for an HBO show right now. I guess you don't get them like day of or whatever.
No, it's.
Don't they do them
until
like
the
night?
DVD comes out? As far as I know,
is that how they do it? That's a small thing.
They used to do it pretty quickly on iTunes like a long time
AMC
ago.
does like night of.
Okay.
You know, you can get Breaking Bad, if you missed it, you can get it the next day.
Yeah.
Which is like, whatever. I think most people can wait.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, the thing to me that is Actually, you know, it's funny. This week, the cable card in my TiVo broke, and that's happened to me before when I had Comcast. And getting a new cable card from Comcast, which is the thing that makes the TiVo work.
Yes, we know what a cable card
Maybe
is.
the other people don't. There's a lot of people.
Creighton,
listening.
emotion towards Creighton.
Creighton is ignorant.
By the way, Creighton, hold on. I'm sorry. You said you were going to break into my headset like they do on Newsroom, and I haven't heard that happen. It's going to be so loud.
Anyway,
I don't hear anything.
some Comcast took days. I can hear it too.
Oh,
Yes,
it does go there.
That's really distracting. You guys
Yeah,
wanna-
you're not like
wanna
wrap
talk,
it up.
Creighton?
Go to commercial.
All right.
I don't know what that voice is.
Look. Oh my God.
I don't have a pen.
This is terrible.
Go on.
Look, when I had Comcast, replacing a cable card to make the TiVo work took days and weeks, months, phone calls. With Fios, I went on the website, I typed in the number of the new cable card, it got activated, I plugged it in the TiVo, and I had TV again.
Please
Wow.
stop lording Fios over all.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying if that's how it worked, Apple could build the box today. You would
With a cable card?
you would-
If cable card was
cable
that
card
easy?
worked the way. I mean, this is like the idealized cable
Sure.
card fantasy.
The
It's like-
dream.
But
it's
you
a
can only
dream.
can't you only record one show?
You
at a
use
time
like
on a
Windows
cable card?
Media Center with a
Four,
with a
how's that
cable
work?
card.
I have a 1400 TiVo. It's awesome.
Quad. So do you have to put
2
four cards
terabytes.
in?
My TiVo has never even come close to halfway.
You have to
full.
put 4 cards in.
One card.
You don't get any on-demand stuff.
Don't get any on-demand stuff.
Right.
I'm happy to not have it. I don't care.
I don't know,
but I'm
man.
saying like if that was the way it worked on
funny.
every cable operator,
Yeah.
and that's how it's supposed to work,
Yeah.
Right.
then Apple would be building this box today,
Maybe.
right?
You think they want to mess with cable cards?
No,
That's what
but
Nilay's
I'm saying
saying.
if it was that easy,
Because they
Yeah, but
don't.
you have to like do something. You have to like put the cable card in, right?
it's a card. It looks like a PC card.
Yeah, I know
It's-
that sounds real easy, but when's the last time Apple was like, you stick this card in here and then you activate it?
Well, that's what Nilay's saying. Because that's so hard.
No,
he's
no,
saying
what
the
I'm
hard,
saying, the
he's
hard
saying
part
that
is
part
like-
easy. He's saying the hard part is that like most of these cable companies have some convoluted, terrible.
You have to call. They don't want you to use it.
Right.
It takes
they're
5
they're
hours.
they're, you know, it's like non-standard.
Now
They
that's-
send people
that's-
over.
That's interesting. Could Apple, with its sort of whole Apple Store model and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean they're doing it with
get-
SIM cards.
get
They're
really-
they're activating cell phones. They figured
Why-
out
what they need to do-
activating a piece of plastic to put in a device to make it connect to a
No,
network.
you know what they need to do?
Apple has that figured out.
They need to create a device with virtual cable cards in it. That's what they need to do. Virtual cable cards.
where the company program. Yeah, sure. I mean
No,
that's
that
what they're trying to do.
they
with-
can be activated remotely.
That's what they're trying to do with the virtual SIM cards. Yeah,
Right.
I'm
No,
saying
yes, and
Apple,
I'm saying
this
if you say that
concept
we've
is simple.
recreated the cable card in software, essentially, what does it do? It doesn't. What
It's
does it have?
it is the decoder for the.
So it's software. It's some chips,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And Apple could just
it has,
say
like, keys and shit
dude,
on it.
A virtual cable card.
We're so good at recording things that it will feel like on demand, but it will all be free. And screw you, cable
Well, I'm just saying,
company.
like,
No. You're
Look,
missing the point.
right now,
They'd still be working with the cable companies.
infrastructure, the
Yeah, but
concept.
the whole point of cable card is that they're required to just do, as long as they don't have to do on
Every
demand.
cable box is supposed to have a cable card in it.
And every cable
The
company is
FCC,
supposed to
the
support
FCC,
cable card.
The FCC wanted
Correct.
there to be innovation in set-top boxes,
And that's the open standard in a way, right?
That's they said so. We'll make everybody to do cable cards, and then the FCC in classic FCC fashion said, but we won't administer the cable card program. Cable industry will let you do that yourself.
Right.
And
So
then
if
the
Apple wanted
the
to
cable
deal-
industry created a
But if
wall around it.
Apple wanted to deal with all that crap, they could.
They could,
Right.
But I'm saying the only way it makes sense in the Apple universe is if it's as easy as Fios,
Right.
where you get the card, you activate it, it takes 2 minutes online, you plug it in, and your device. Is good.
I think they have to go even easier than that.
Well, yeah, but you can get.
I get your point, though.
What
But I'm saying that doesn't
We're
Apple
so,
Verizon-
I don't know. I'm sorry. I think we're so far off
What
of
about
that.
an Apple Verizon partnership?
that would be.
Where-
They've already
But
got
also,
one.
by the way, what you're describing all sounds more complicated than a guy coming to my house, plugging in a box, and when he leaves, I have cable.
Maybe.
A lot more complicated.
Well, maybe. I mean, look, I think all
What
this
if
living
you
room
came
stuff.
in and you had fiber optic internet and an Apple box and cable?
I mean,
What if he
there's-
came in and installed Google Fiber?
There's
I mean, that's
nothing
like
I
your-
wouldn't. There's nothing I wouldn't do for FiOS. Nothing.
All right, we should wrap this up.
What about the Netflix model?
We gotta go. We gotta wrap.
What
it
if
up.
Apple just
You got to run on the pipes, man.
made their own stuff?
And that's
Netflix,
the-
you know what Netflix's biggest problem is? Comcast owns the last mile of
And
the
that's
consumer.
are we wrapping up?
Yeah.
Cool with that?
I don't know.
Can you
Are
imagine
we?
delivering live
Are
TV?
we?
You know how much bandwidth that uses? Netflix is great. You turn it on, you turn it off. You just tell me your bandwidth.
And
Live TV blows
Tune
through.
into Vergecast overtime for more of this conversation.
More.
I gotta say,
more
I
calculation
did the antenna
of
for the
HD rates.
Olympics. I was recording with Windows Media Center from 8 a.m. to midnight every day on my PC. I built myself, not a single hiccup. I have hundreds of hours of NBC on my computer.
And I'll
now.
be torrenting it all
I've
tonight.
got
You have hundreds of hours of Olympics.
Well,
Do you have the fencing?
There's 2 hours
Did
of
you get-
Today
did you
Show,
get the
and then
fence?
there's Olympics today.
You're
or
gonna
some
watch Today's
bogus-
Show from 2 weeks ago.
No, I'm just saying I
You're a
have
sick
it all
person.
on my.
Do you have fencing? Because I want to watch some.
No, I have all the. I have. It's mostly water polo and volleyball. Is like the majority of their.
Ugh. You didn't get
coverage.
fencing? Why not? Do
No,
we even
because-
show the fencing in
No,
America?
like for well, no. There's all other sports. This is actual regular NBC. There's cool stuff on the internet and there's cool stuff on the other cable.
Did they during the Olympics make a pass
channels.
where you could like tune in online and watch any event that was going on at that moment?
No.
That's stupid. They should have done that.
Yeah, there was a way to watch everything.
How did you miss all of this? Yeah, but you had to have.
How? I hate sports. No, I don't hate sports.
But this
I just
was
don't
like
care about
you
them.
could do that for free if you subscribe to a cable package that included CNBC.
I didn't
and
do that.
MSNBC.
All right,
Right.
we're
Right.
ending this.
So there was a way to do that.
Not really.
Not for everybody.
I'm ending this.
Olympics.
I have to watch this video of Rihanna talking to Oprah about Chris Brown.
Please
so can we,
don't.
Can we end this?
Please don't.
Well, you
But
get to watch Keeping Up with the
I just saw
Kardashians every day. I can't.
I just saw a trailer for what is this? This is like
What's the gadget angle?
2-minute warning. I like this. I like this a lot. I watched a trailer for a movie.
2-minute warning, like in sports.
I watched a trailer
that
for
you
a
claim
movie.
to know nothing
A
about.
trailer for a movie starring Chris Brown.
oh,
What?
good.
Really?
I then immediately
What's
added
the
it.
plot?
It's about breakdancing.
Really?
Yes. Oh,
In the future?
no, it's a breakdancing team that's coached by Sawyer from Lost.
No way.
I wish I was making this up. I wish this was an invention of my like drug-addled mind.
Like
But
here's
this
a
is
crazy awesome idea. I
Yeah.
had.
No, oh no, and they go to like he's like a disgraced
A prison?
He's a disgraced. Sawyer is a disgraced former sports coach who gets
Shipwrecked.
who gets tapped to coach this breakdancing squad.
Uh-huh.
They're battling all of the nations for the breakdancing prize. In America,
international?
America hasn't won in 15 years, and Josh Holloway is the only guy who can put their team back together.
And Sawyer's
he
trying to
takes them,
keep clean.
and so he takes them to a prison where they do intensive boot camp breakdancing.
Scared straight.
Yes, and they fight, and they hug, and they dance.
That's so good.
And the film is called like
wait, don't tell me.
it's called something like slam it down. Or,
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
gonna have
God.
like a prison thing and a breakdancing
like Juice
thing.
Stop or something, or like
Juice Stop
This
is
has to-
good.
we have
like,
to-
like,
Juice Stop is great.
like I don't know the name of it.
Prison dance.
No, it's because it doesn't take place in the prison. It's like
Right.
It's like Staying Strong or
With
I don't
like
know.
a STAYIN apostrophe.
Anyhow, that's the Vergecast for this week. If somebody will tell us maybe in chat what it is. That's the Vergecast for this week. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at vergecast@theverge.com. You can find us on Twitter, which is @Verge. Or you can leave a comment on the post when it goes up. We love that. You can also find most of us on the internet. I'm on Twitter, @Joshua Topolsky. Nilay is @Reckless. Paul is @Future Paul. But he's not around on the internet anymore, but you can still send him a message
If
you
you
want.
know the name of that movie, you can send me a letter.
If you know the name of the movie, send him a letter.
P.O. Box 501. What?
Go ahead. Sorry.
P.O. Box 501, New York, New York 10276.
Should I say the name of the movie? Because they just told me.
Yeah.
It's called Battle of the Year.
No, it's terrible.
Battle of the Year.
Juice Stop was way better.
Juice Stop is
Up.
awesome.
Juiced Up.
We got to make a
movie
Verge
called
dance,
Juiced Up.
Verge dance movie where like the only way we can save the Verge is by dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would do that.
We got to do that with CES.
God, that sounds terrible. That sounds like a terrible like a startup is like you got to make a funny video and it's
Yeah.
like that and it's not funny.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
we do that, I quit. Just letting you know.
I quit if we do that.
Wait. But we do the video before you guys would quit, right?
We do the video to stop us from quitting.
No, we do. Oh, yeah.
The dance.
But then in real life,
my
we'd all
God.
quit.
We all realized.
But we had to finish the video before
we all
quit.
realized that in doing the video, we became a better team.
Closer.
And we didn't want to quit at the
We
end of it.
trusted each other
Even though the
more.
video made us want to quit in the first place. It's kind of meta.
We had a lot of misconceptions about each other.
We didn't really know what the other person, where they were coming from.
Yeah.
And then
But
we
once
learned.
we walked a mile in each other's shoes.
That's right.
Spun 360 degrees at each other's beams.
And also, once we learned that no matter.
also, I want some props for that.
Also, I think I should say that once we learned that no matter where we come from
Yeah.
or who we are, dance brings us together.
Yeah, that's obvious.
It's an international language.
It's the international language. All right. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back next week. And as always,
We're sorry.
as always, we apologize to you and your family.